And I actually think gas prices in America will actually rise faster than the oil price, because I think we're going to be exporting more and more of our refined products, and therefore I think you're going to see even more pressure gasoline prices than necessarily the crude oil price, although they're both going to be moving up. But, to the extent that the Fed responds to the high gas prices by creating even more inflation, if ultimately high gas prices are the impetus for the launch of QE3, the official launch, then that's very bullish for the nominal value of stocks. But, of course, it's very ironic, because the reason gas prices are rising is because of all the QE that the Fed has already done. And so if it's going to do even more QE to try to help the economy from suffering the results of its prior QE, it is ironic. And, it's interesting, too, or with all the criticisms that you see about the president about oil, it's all misdirected, because the Republicans are criticizing the president's energy policy. That's not driving the prices. It's his fiscal policy. It's the Fed's monetary policy, printing all this money to buy all these bonds. That's why gas prices are rising, and that's why food prices and other prices are rising throughout the economy, even as Americans are consuming less oil. Demand is at the lowest it's been in over a decade. Americans are consuming less, but paying more for it because of all the inflation that is being created. And the Fed's going to create even more inflation because the economy is suffering from inflation. It's just going to be the equivalent of throwing gasoline on a fire.
Peter, could you please tell folks what they will find as they navigate their browsers to the Euro-Pacific website?
You can go to Euro-Pacific Capital and get information on my brokerage firm. Also, I have a precious metals company, Euro-Pacific Precious Metals. Either one, we can help you with your physical precious metals investments. Of course, when people buy precious metals, I had a guy that called up, or I was my radio show today, where people should go to schiffradio.com. I do that radio show 2 hours a day. Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern time. But, he had to cash in his gold IRAs, and he bought some gold. And despite the fact that gold had gone up significantly since he made his investments, he was down about 40% because he overpaid as far as the markups. So it's very dangerous if you buy gold from these firms that are advertising all over the internet, all over cable television, where they mark up their products 50, 60, 70, sometimes 100%. If you need to sell that gold, you're going to take a bath unless the price of gold skyrockets. But even if you don't lose money, you've lost all the profits that you would have made had you bought your gold through a legitimate dealer like Euro-Pacific Capital, where, the markups are generally no more than 2 to 3% and sometimes less. So you don't want to, get taken to the cleaners when you buy your gold. You don't want to enrich the brokers. You want to enrich yourself. So you can buy confidently from Euro-Pacific Capital or Euro-Pacific Precious Metals. And again, it's Europac.net or EuropacMetals.com. For foreigners, I have a offshore bank. They can go to my website, EuropacBank.com, and we also sell physical precious metals to non-Americans through my offshore bank, as well as we offer brokerage services, stocks and bonds, mutual funds, a full array of financial products to those who are living outside of the United States.
And I think we should probably clarify there, when you talk about 40, 50, 60% markups, I'm sure you're referring to collectible numismatics.
Well, they sometimes are not really collectible. I mean, just because a brokerage firm, coin dealer, tells you that this is a numismatic coin, the coin itself can have very value to a collector. Just because a coin is old doesn't mean it's rare. Some of these coins, there's plenty of them. And if they've been circulated, there's really nothing there. You want an uncirculated coin that is extremely rare in how many were minted, how many still exist. And that is a market not for gold investors, not for people who are worried about inflation. But if you're a rare coin buyer, that's no different than buying baseball cards or rare stamps or works of art. It is not about a protection against inflation or a weak dollar. There you want to buy bullion. You want to buy gold bullion, bars, or coins. But the reason that so many firms try to talk their customers out of bullion is because they can't make any money selling bullion. They make all the money selling these so-called rare coins, but they make money at the expense of their customers. And as a customer, you don't want that. And some of these firms, even mark up their bullion 10 or 15%, which is outrageous. There's no reason to pay that kind of markup all you're doing is paying for their ad budgets and paying for the inflated salaries and profits of the people that run those firms. There are other legitimate firms that do a good job, but certainly my firm is as good as any of the ones that are doing a good job, which is not charging an excess fee for people. We'll help people pick the right gold and the right silver and charge them a reasonable commission for the work that we do. Not excess, but reasonable. And reasonable is a few percent. That's it. Hey, I want to remind everybody, too, my brand new book is now available for pre-order on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's The Real Crash, America's Coming Bankruptcy, How to Save Yourself and Your Future. And this is my first major book since my original book, Crash Proof, because Crash Proof 2.0 was a revision. The little book was relatively small, and I revised it. And then the cartoon book on economics was a smaller work. This is a very comprehensive book. It's even longer than the original Crash Proof. So there's a lot of good stuff in there, but you can order it right now. Very good. Well, I'm sure we'll look forward to that, put it on our reading list. Well, Peter Schiff, we want to thank you for your time today, taking time out of your busy schedule for us, and wish you continued success, sir. Hey, great. Thanks for having me on your show.